Hi there, this is Kaushik Ranchod from the Ranchod Law Group. Welcome to our Immigration Weekly Show. Today, I have some amazing news, like really good news. USCIS is talking about decreasing processing times, expanded premium processing. So you'll want to stay tuned because I'm going to go into the details and tell you all about it. But first, let's dive into the history. Let's talk about why is this even needed? Because USCIS in the last few years has had their processing times increase radically. I mean, in my 20 years, it's been nothing like it. And as an attorney, I'll just tell you it sucks to be practicing when you see families separated for years, when you see it taking too long for someone to get work authorization. For instance, in 2014, it was taking about an average case about 5 months to get approved. In 2019, it was taking 9 months, and 9 months is actually fast because that's the average. Like if you're looking at family-based cases like marriage-based adjustments of status, if you're looking at immigrant visas, we're seeing times over 2 years. The processing times have radically increased. Now, these are not just numbers. This is people's lives where people are being separated for years. Families, people married to US citizen and you're married to your spouse and you can't be with them for a couple of years. That's absolutely unacceptable. And that's what USCIS has been doing. Businesses coming to a halt because they can't get their employee to work. This is what's been happening. Let's talk about who has been affected in this. Well, everyone who's submitting an application for USCIS has been affected, where you're submitting naturalization applications, if you're submitting an employment-based application. What I've seen most detrimental are employment authorizations, or all of it's detrimental, but this is one that really bothers me, is that where employment authorization is taking 9 months, so then the person's left to not work. They're not doing anything that is their fault. It's rather USCIS taking so long to process the application. Travel documents yesterday, we had a client come in yesterday. Their grandmother is about to pass away. She's 96, 97. And he can't go visit her because USCIS is taking so long. This is not right. Stay tuned because USCIS is recognizing this problem. I'm just giving you the lay of the land as it is right now so you know what you're up against right now. These increase in processing times have come even in a time when applications have been reduced. So you see a reduce in cases being submitted to USCIS. At the same time, processing times are going up. Like, what is going on, USCIS? Let's look at change of statuses, I-539s. Those processing times have gone up 250%. 45 applications, those have significantly increased as well. From 2017 to 2021, 45s were taking 7.9 months on average. Then in 2021, they're taking about 13.2 months, so that's about a 67% increase. But what does this mean to you? When usually you're filing a 45, you're either filing an I-140, you're filing an I-130. So then you have those processing times on top of the 45 to get the application. So it's not just the 45, it's also the I-130 or I-140. So you're talking about adding a year or so to an application because USCIS's negligence, because of their understaffing, because during the Trump administration, they intentionally tried to create a systemic issue within USCIS to make it more difficult for you to get your application on time and to even get your application. And it takes time to undo what the Trump administration has done. Other reasons for the delays are inefficient processing times. COVID, of course, increased processing time as well. And let's look at some specific policies that were created during the Trump administration that created these delays. So for instance, there was a policy that required USCIS to do duplicate review of past decisions. So that policy is basically creating double work. If you're doing duplicate review of a decision, of course things are going to slow down. Another problem was requiring fingerprinting. fingerprinting for I-539 applications. That, of course, would cause a slowdown as well. Currently, the Biden has attempted to make some changes, but with COVID, the processing times are still unfathomable. One way that COVID impacted the delay in processing times was when they closed their office for interviews. So they're working through that backlog because they were not doing citizenship interviews, green card interviews. So during that time, of course, all these cases just piled up, and then they have to just whittle them down, and that's taking time. All right, you know the problem. You know that these processing times are crazy. What can you do? Well, you can do simple things. If you're working with an attorney, make sure your attorney has your most recent contact information so they can communicate with you. You can also make sure that you can file your application as soon as you're allowed to file it. So you make sure you have plenty of time. You can also talk to your congressman's office for their support as well. Now, let's get to the juicy, the meaty, the fun stuff. Expanded premium processing announced by USCIS. Yes, you heard it. Breaking news, it's true. Expanded premium processing. What the heck? Okay, now are we just talking about expanded premium processing? We're talking about boom! Okay, yeah, you gotta smash that like button, but not that boom, a different boom. A boom of where we're talking about they're gonna try to increase the processing times. So yes, this does deserve a celebration. Woohoo! Oh yeah! All right, if you can tell that I'm excited, I am, you got me. You know why I'm excited? Because I'm tired of seeing my clients suffer. I'm tired of seeing people stress out, have anxiety because of these long processing times. Now, let's jump into the solution of what USCIS has announced. I know that's what you're waiting for, so let's do this. First of all, USCIS has acknowledged the problem, so they are setting goals to reduce the backlogs. So that in and of itself is a huge win, and you should be getting really excited about this. Not only that, but premium processing has been announced for certain types of applications. So it's not all types of applications. It's only certain types of them. We'll talk about which ones very shortly. And then I wanted to read a quote from USCIS. Basically, they're acknowledging this problem, which I have to applaud them for. And I wanted to read this quote to you so you can get an idea of the tone of this administration and how it's different from the prior administration. Every application we adjudicate represents the hopes and dreams of immigrants and their families, as well as their critical immediate needs such as financial stability and humanitarian protection. USCIS remains committed to delivering timely and fair decisions. Note the word timely. And so, as you can see, this sentiment here is that they want to move in the positive direction. They want to decrease the backlogs. So let's talk about now specifically what they are going to do, what the plan is, and what you can expect. USCIS's first goal is to reduce the backlogs this month. What they're doing is they're creating internal processing times. They're called cycle times, so they're not exactly the same as processing times, but it's like their own internal metric of like, how are they going to make sure this gets done? Well, they have internal metrics. Like for instance, in our office, we have internal metrics that we want to make sure we meet. We call them KPIs, key performance indicators. In USCIS, they have their own metrics. They're called cycle times. So those cycle times will make sure that they're meeting their metrics. At least that's what the goal is. So you can see what USCIS's goals are for their cycle times. Again, cycle times are not the same as processing times, but they're supposed to be very similar, very congruent with the actual processing times. If this happens, I'm gonna jump for joy. I'm seriously gonna jump for joy, because let's look at what these processing times are. Like the I-76 or cycle times, I-765, 3 months. From 9 months to 3 months, that's what it was back in the day when I first started practicing. It was 3 months. And now it's like 9 months. So 3 months, yes, USCIS, thank you very much, you're getting it right. If you actually can do this. So that's like one of the biggest improvements. Now let's talk about premium processing. This is where it is just blowing my mind Because why haven't they done this before? Like, why? I just don't get it. You want people to work. Why are you making people wait 9 months? It's like totally cray-cray. But yes, they are doing it. They are planning. Now, first of all, before I get too excited, this is a phased process. So what that means is they're not doing this like tomorrow and you're going to be calling me like, hey, I saw your video. What's up, man? I don't see these premium processing times. Well, that's because the announcement has stated that this is going to happen in phases. So the work authorization premium processing, they said will be in 2022, but we don't know when in 2022. They're starting off with EB1, multinational and executives and managers. They're also doing EB2, national interest waivers first. Then they're going to move on to the work authorization and also the I-539 change of status. However, you can see now USCIS is moving in the right direction. This is what needs to happen because we have, for instance, cases such as I-601A waivers that can take many years to get approved. With this new goal and direction, I'm hoping those types of cases will also decrease. And I think that if USCIS wants to continue to make a change in people's lives, they will continue to expand this. I want to thank you so much. I want to really, truly thank you. I really, really appreciate you. I honor you for taking the time to watch this video. I know it's stressful. I hear it every day when I do my consultations or meet with clients. But we're here to be a resource for you, provide you information, and stay tuned. You can post your comments below, subscribe, and I just wanted to acknowledge you for being the amazing person you are. Bye for now.